there's me, and my territory is the United States. I'm the one territory rep for the United States. And it sounds madness, and it was madness to even think I could do it.
Did it ever, yeah, I guess that's the Home Depot thing, because I was going to ask, did it ever occur to you to see that and decide to focus on a region and do it regionally? But I guess
Well,
this
I mean, really
the
and
carrot, it's a
truly,
big carrot.
that was huge. That was huge. And I kind of, like I say, I kind of knew it was going to be too big an undertaking for one person. Um, the rest, they weren't the only, I was still prospecting other retailers, mostly east of the Mississippi, let me call it. That's where most of business is. There's east of the Mississippi, and then there's California, and there's not much in between.
No.
Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I
Probably got a
think,
little bit up in Seattle and
oh yeah, I'm sure, but
in some of those cities, but otherwise,
generally
yeah.
speaking, so I used to drive a lot of it. I'd got the time, um, and sometimes I'd go away for a week or a bit more, like proper American reps used to be on the road,
Mm.
and and I'd drive up, and I'd fix up some appointments on whichever route I was going. I was prospecting one company in Detroit, not exactly around the corner from Florida,
No,
but
not really.
I think it was like a good 2 day, nearly a 3 day drive up to there, really. Um, but I used to make it more and make some more calls on the way up. Long Island, I remember going on the way up and stuff like that. So I could do it. And I did do it. But just overall, yeah, it was far too much one person. It's total stupidity, really.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, that was
I
yeah.
think one last question about this whole moving to the States and everything, how you felt when you parked the car there. You must have had waves of that in Florida, like missing the kids,
Oh
missing the
God, yeah,
family.
yeah.
And that, I mean, how did that affect Rhonda sometimes?
Oh, she could split between feeling sorry for me and being really angry
Right.
because I'd done it and I should have hey, you've done it, and you got to know this. And she was very much that they should really like her and they detested her. But that didn't help. My 50th birthday would be in 2005. I was born in
Yeah.
1955. So, in the allotted weekend around my birthday, I'd booked somewhere where the family and friends could all go to a weekend dinner dance type package in just outside of Oxford, Whitney, a hotel there. 2 nights, and you've got it all included. And so I went to, the kids came down on the train from Congleton. Everybody else is already there. I've driven off from Whitney to pick them up at the station at Oxford. Kind of as they walked in the hotel, there's Rhonda thinking she's the loving stepmother with arms out. And they all just walk straight past her and go to my mum. Well, that's where she started getting angry, and it just got worse through the night. And one thing I would say about Rhonda, she could not drink without having an argument.
I
That's
know
what
like
that's
that.
what brought us down in the end.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what brought us
How
down
old
in
were the
the end.
kids at the time?
So Rachel was born 85. So what was she? She was 20.
20.
Yeah. Verity would be 3 years younger.
Okay.
And I was 94. So I don't know, I can't work them all out. But they were like
7.
teens, weren't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, oh God. And that was such a nightmare. She just got more and more drunk, and she got more and more wild with everybody. And it became an embarrassment. Oh dear me, when I think about it. And it was going wrong then. She was living here then. That's Yeah, she was living here. That was the part where, yeah, where she'd in 2005 July, she moved here with a settlement visa in May 2005 and left at the end of August 2005. As I said, I think it took me longer to get a visa than she had stayed here.
Wow.
I think
Yeah.
that's another story, actually. I think.
Yeah, we'll touch on it again.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're in the States, and now you can fly for nearly free
Hmm.
and forth to the UK as well.
Yeah.
Um, with the pass you had, did that mean that you did that trip more frequently than you would have before? I mean, I'm guessing you would
Oh,
be ready to
yeah. I
see the
mean,
kids and everything.
I mean, it was great. The staff pass with Delta. I don't know if it's still the same system now, but you used to just pay the tax, which I think was $43 at the time. So the other side was that Delta would always fly their staff business class if there's space available. I mean, the whole thing was based on space available. They're called non-rev in the trade, non-revenue passes. So your non-revin is what they call it, the little buzzword. Um, but they're always space available, so that means standby. They had got a system at the time, I'm sure it's all different now. You could phone a number and you could key in your flight number and the date, and then it would tell you how many open seats there were up front and in the back. And then if there were only like 3 open seats, you'd think to yourself, maybe I'll get another flight or whatever, go on another
Mm,
day, different flight, different route. Because you'd always want to sit up front if you could, for sure.
yeah, why not?
Yeah, exactly. And most of the time, we we did get up front. Um, or I did get up front. So the pass was really good, and you could use that one as many times as you liked. Then,
First class. That's not bad.
okay, not bad, mate. Then there was an allocation. You'd have an allocation of they were called their family and friends called buddy passes.
Yeah.
So you'd have an allocation, same system, exactly. They would also fly business class, space available, but also standby. So you never knew you were getting on. But the other upside of it all was it didn't matter. If you booked on a flight and right up to the point where you're at the gate, if you decided you didn't want to go on that flight, they just took you off the list. So you didn't lose, it's not like it was non-refundable and stuff like that. It was
Yeah.
just like totally flexible. You could just take yourself off the list, relist for tomorrow. Sometimes you'd be there at the gate and you'd ask the staff, and they say, yeah, you've got no chance tonight, Warren, getting across. There's just too many people in front of you. And of course, the other thing that I should mention with those, for anybody that's interested, it's all about seniority,
Yeah.
date of employment, and that's also printed on your pass. So with Rhonda, because she was fairly new, she hadn't got much seniority with Delta. So that did mean that if there were 4 open seats and you were number 4 or 5 on the list, there'd be a chance you wouldn't get on if somebody else rocked up at the last minute and said, oh. And this happened to us because on one trip I'd come across to the UK and I said to my, I think I'd said to my mum, I was, see, why don't you come across? I'll get a pass for you. Come over with me. You just have to fly back on your own. And yeah, it sounded quite fine. She's quite capable of flying on her own. So that's what we did. On Friday the 13th of February 2004, we'd had a little bit of a drama in Gatwick. We had boarded. It was a full flight. They switched stuff around the gate. The gate people and that and Gatwick had got to know me by then a little
Yeah.
bit, and because I was fairly frequent going here, and they shuffled stuff around that we could fly to instead of flying to Atlanta, we'd fly to Cincinnati, and all would be good. So we sat there in our seats, 3A and 3B or whatever up front, just looking through the champagne menu and food menu. And one of the flight attendants come up and said, "I'm really sorry, guys, but somebody's rocked up with more seniority, and she's demanding to get on this flight. Her and the son." So we got booted out of front and ended up in the back with all. I used to joke. I said, "God, there's people set up." I said, "I thought this was just engines and bags. I'd got no
Yeah.
idea." Here's my little joke in a minute. Anyway, so that wasn't so good, but that was us in coach for the whole flight. And then we got to Cincinnati, and I never thought any more of it. You've got all your stuff in the, you filled out your white visa waiver form, and you filled out your green customs form, and you got those two inside your passport just to hand over to the immigration officer.
Right.
Done it quite literally 100 times before.
Yeah.
It feels like that. I did that, and she looked through it all, and I was expecting her to say business or pleasure, Warren. But she said, "Tell me what you've been doing for the last 283 days here." And I thought, "Oh, bollocks." I knew I was sailing close to the wind. And the thing was, I hadn't broken the laws. I was sure of that.
No, no, no.
Okay. As much as they can huff and puff there, and the rules might change, but as it was then, your 90-day visa waiver, you could come and go as many times as you liked on it. So she sent me straight off for, "You've got to go in that room there and then wait a secondary interview." And I'm thinking, "Oh, number one, this is not so good. And number two, I've got my mum with me. And I'm like, "Mum, we've got a, well, what's happening?" I said, "I don't know. They want to check something with my passport." Well, the first thing they do, it seems, is make sure you miss your connecting flight, because we must have sat there a couple of hours before anything happened. And we did miss our connecting flight. And then had to go and get our bags from the carousel, brought them back into immigration. And then we sat some more. And I'm trying to explain to her what's happened. And it was interesting, we got these two immigration officers playing this kind of good cop, bad cop routine. I don't remember all the words, but it was certainly going on. And I'd learned some years earlier when I was at a tarmac business management course. We were doing one on advanced negotiation at Aston University in Birmingham. And I don't think it was, I remember it was part of the course or not, but we did get into this thing about how do you deal with good cop, bad cop routines. And the way to deal with it is just to switch things. So be very amenable with the bad cop and don't do anything with the good cop. It totally destroys their way of doing things. Anyway, that's what I kind of did a little bit. But yeah, it becomes the thing. That visa waiver is more than waives your right to a visa. It waives your rights to everything. So you can't be admitted and go and argue your case with an immigration judge.
No.
It's entirely up to the officer at that border whether you
Scary amount of power those people have.
whether you go in or not. Exactly. And how they feel is what determines whether you let in or you're on the plane that night going back to Gatwick. So, and I'm already thinking this, and I'm thinking I can get another pass. It's okay for me as long as there's space available. Otherwise, I've got to pay an awful lot of money to get back. So anyway, they started, "Mr. Bad Cop, I need to go through all your stuff, Mr. Garber." Mom was calling me Mr. Garber. Mom was calling me Warren. This was the good cop, bad cop.
A little indication there.
Yeah, little bits. So we started. I got all my bag out, and he's going through it. He's going through that. I thought, "What are you doing?" But they're looking for evidence of trappings of living there or intending to live there.
Yeah.
And certainly living with an American citizen is a big indicator of And luckily, they never pulled anything up about that. But their right of search is another thing they've got when you waive your rights. They've got the right of search without you arguing about it. So
Okay.
I've gone through all the stuff out of my pockets. Then it came to my wallet, and then things start things started hanging me slowly. And I'm watching it unfold in front of my eyes. Out come a Bank of America check card. Didn't say anything, just laid it down.
Hmm.
Then out came a Florida driver's license.
How did you get a Florida driver's license without a social security number?
I don't know. I didn't. I clearly didn't need one because I didn't have a social security number. I had an
You,
ITIN, a taxpayer's reference number. Maybe I'll give him
an
that.
American one?
But yeah, but not a yeah. I had to pay tax if the business made money. I had to pay
Ah,
tax.
okay.
So I had an ITIN for that. Um, so the Florida driver's license, and I'm thinking this is not good. Then a Sam's Club card come out. You know the business
Mm,
side of
yeah,
a
yeah.
Walmart for buying printers and
Wholesale and yeah.
yeah, that kind of stuff. And then I think the thing that really hung me, Fort Walton Beach Library card. I mean, who the hell would have a library card? So then when the question started, and I got to convince them that I don't live there with an American citizen. Otherwise, I would be in bloody jail. So, and it started off because I wanted a bank account. Okay. Because all I could ever do was keep going to ATM and draw money out.
Hmm.
This was, I mean, this was just a fact. So Bank of America, they said they wanted state ID, either a driver's license or state ID.
Okay.
So I thought, well, I'll go get a driver's license. So I applied for a driving test, rented a car from Rent a Wreck, got my driving test, drove around a little bit, did the manoeuvres in their yard, and passed. And then you sit there, they print your driver's license, and that's you done. And then I trotted off and got my uh, checkbook and everything. They gave me a bank account straight away with my driver's license.
Mm.
The library card it was because back in those days, yeah, I did used to read a lot actually. So anyway, we went through all of this stuff, why I got this and that. And then they, okay, wait here. And then Mr. Badcop come up in the end and he said, Warren, we need to speak. This is the bad cop. And then he's calling me Warren. I thought, okay, we're okay here. And it was. And he just said to me, it was interesting. He said to me, I think you're treading a very fine line. In fact, I think you're overstepping it, but I haven't got enough to refuse your entry. But I'm just saying to you, you better get yourself a better visa sorted out for next time you come. So that was February. He did let me in. Um, I couldn't really get the visa I knew what visa they wanted me to have. Uh, Intercompany transferring. That was going to cost me $6,000. I really
Okay.
didn't feel like I was going to go through that with a lawyer. So I just got a regular B1, B2 visa. But they just, every time I came in after that, they'd got me marked. I kept getting secondary interviews, kept getting delayed to the point where I thought Home Depot wasn't going. We did go into one of their stores, just took so much work. And then
Mm.
it was going to start so much. And I just, relationship wise, was okay still. Disappointing, but I said, I'm going back to the UK. Can't live here. So Rhonda had to then make the choice. Was she going to move to the UK or were we going to split? I suppose, I'm trying to think back how strong we were there, the relationship. It wasn't a straight away, oh God, yes, I'll follow you anywhere, Warren. There was a bit of a thought about it. I'm not sure I want to live with you, Brits. Well, okay, but kind of make your mind up. We did have it was a difficult relationship, even by then. But yeah, she did she did decide she wanted to come. I came back to the UK in November 2000, and
That was America.
that was America done.